Imagine yourself sipping on a drink in a cozy tavern.
Suddenly, you start to feel a little warm.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you sip on a drink.
You feel warmer. Your vision is blurring.
Yup, still a side effect of ale.
Your skin turns yellow and your veins turn black.
Then you fall.
He fell.
The tavern keeper fell.
Presumably dead.
Well, he is dead.
He's dead.
Now you're scared.
You're worried.
And mostly drunk.
But you're curious.
Who let this happen?
And suddenly...
A box.
A box?
A box falls down the chimney.
There's a Dawnish place. It's a room, actually. A room built for scholars. It's surrounded with knowledge, magical tomes, scrolls with prophecies written in ancient languages, history books, journals from explorers who ventured across the world and charted the skies. The room has a golden tint to it, and the sun's rays piercing through the large windows.
Well, there's a change of pace. What happened to the murder mystery? Where's the dead guy and all the other people around him?
We're getting there. Just follow along. In the center of this room, there is a desk, and on this desk, well, more books and papers, but what I'm more interested in is the name plaque. Professor Krultide.
Ah, I see what we're doing. The professor had just wrapped up finishing a class, lessons on Varper steam. It's a chemical that powers our world.
Nightshade has a thing for chemistry, especially Varper. He loves the way our world has developed new elements that give power to our technologies.
After all, we're in an age of steampunk industrialization.
He was quite young when he first learned about this chemical called Varper, and he's grown fascinated by it ever since. Nerd.
No. Passionate.
Alright, whatever you want to call it, he turned his passions into a career. Go Nightshade.
His academy is somewhere quiet, topside, surrounded by the modern architecture of Lothora. The marble pillars carried a touch of antiquity, but the purple-stained glass gave it that touch of artistic ingenuity.
Picture it surrounded by gardens and greenhouses, filled with huge learning halls and labs with tech designed by Lothora's brightest minds.
Nightshade was on his way to meet somebody for a potential collaboration on a project. A Vilgarin who instructed him to meet her in a tavern in the Undercity.
Nightshade doesn't usually visit the city of Loth, but every now and then he'd spend his evening hiding away in taverns like the Wish and Get. So he knew the route well.
Lothora runs on steam engines, both trains and airships. There's a train that goes right down to the High Factory district of Loth. It's an old train that was used before the Undercity was abandoned.
No one ever stopped the train, though. Now it runs endlessly, in one large circle from a small station in Lothora to the darkest level of Loth.
You see, back in the day, Loth was a haven during a time where the world faced grand disasters that split the grounds. Loth was built into deep canyons that stretched for miles.
At first, it was a sanctuary.
Eventually, a metropolis.
Until Lothora was built above ground, and the Undercity was left to ruin.
Walkways were built along the outer walls of the factory buildings down here, suspended by networks of wires and cables, allowing people to move between levels of the Undercity without ever actually touching the ground.
These bridges have always been, and will always be, the streets of Loth, connecting from district to district, shielding its people from the polluted depths of the slums below.
The High Factory district is the closest to the surface, and where the Wishinget is, that's where Nightshade is headed.
He's on his way to meet the winged woman, Maeve Burton.
Maeve had spent the last few months on a sort of personal quest.
She's looking for something, an ancient city that doesn't exist anymore. She thinks Nightshade might know where it is.
Why is she looking for an ancient city? Is she like a historian or something?
No, not really.
Treasure hunter?
Nah, though she does give that vibe sometimes. But no. Maeve is searching for a clue that might reveal something about her family's past.
Right, so she's got no idea where the city might be and is hoping the professor might be able to help.
Yep. Butter, the 4-inch sentient mushroom she keeps around, is here too, somewhere. Wherever Maeve goes, he follows.
Hey, by the way, how do they meet?
It's a bit of a long story, but to make it short, Maeve saved Butter from being locked up.
Wait, Butter was going to prison?
Well, okay, Butter has a tendency of committing... crimes?
Oh, shit. Like what?
Let's see here. There is vandalism, assault, theft, arson, trespassing, smuggling illegal spores, resisting arrest twice, public indecency, don't question it. I'm pretty sure he started an underground fight ring for beetles. There's also tax evasion, poisoning. He also bit a guard once, and I'm pretty sure he killed somebody. But this time, he was caught trying to eat a baker.
Wait, isn't he a mushroom? I thought eating the dead was kind of their thing.
No. This one was alive, and that's definitely illegal. At least on this continent.
Oh.
So anyways, Maeve saved him, and he's stuck with her ever since. Like a weird pet.
And now they're meeting Nightshade at the Wishing-Get. When he enters the tavern and takes his seat across from Maeve, they are greeted by the tavern's one and only employee, Sayun.
You guys remember the little dragon?
Oh, not a dragon.
Sayun is an interesting creature. He doesn't really know much about his past, but he does know that he isn't exactly a normal little lizard.
Well, obviously. He has wings.
Well, yeah, but there's kind of more to that story. Sayun was made in a lab.
Oh, that's fun.
You and I have very different definitions of fun.
So, Sayun was made in a lab. What next?
Hard to say, considering he was an actual lizard before gaining sentience. He did quite a bit of traveling until he found himself in the Undercity.
He was looking for a safe place to lay low, as most do down here, and the tavern keeper offered him a job.
And now he's serving drinks to Maeve and Nightshade, until the newcomer walked in.
Molly Faint. Yes, I remember this part. Molly lives in the Undercity, moving around from inn to inn or finding a quiet loft to claim for a night or two.
She had just left the pawn shop a few blocks away, called in to repair some old trinkets. That's her specialty, you know. She tinkers.
Her family were once nobles in Tinkerdrift so long ago. They were inventors and some of the brightest minds of their city before the terrible accident.
The fire.
Yes, the fire that divided the Faint family. Safe to say, not everyone survived that night.
Molly did. She's the Faint who got away.
She's been on the move ever since, never staying in one place too long. Lately, she's been staying in the Undercity of Loth.
She takes up weird repair jobs every now and then.
Some old guy gave her a hard time, asking her to give him discounts and stuff. Just buy the damn thing. If you can't afford it, move on.
Everyone here hassles. I guess between Lethora and Loth, though, it's kind of balanced.
You've got the wealthy topsiders like Nightshade, making it in the world, and you've got those in the Undercity like Molly, barely surviving.
Sounds like where I live.
Sure, except you're not in a steampunk metropolis where the sky is dotted with airships, surrounded by magic and wondrous discoveries.
Lethora sounds cool.
Lethora is cool. Loth has its charm too, in a way.
You know, by some coincidence, Molly decided that this would be the evening that she would venture to a tavern. She's not usually one for social settings.
Yeah, she's a loner. She prefers it that way. Easier to survive and disappear, if she needed to.
When she reached for the tavern doors, she was welcomed by the scent of cinnamon. It's not her favorite smell, though. It's too potent for the crustlings like her.
The smell faded away into the background, and she took in the rest of the tavern air.
She searched for an empty seat and found one at the bar, a little to the right.
She ordered a drink.
And the rest is history.
It's not history. It's still being written.
The 2nd of Deldorum, 12:32 a.m. The Undercity.
The tavern has quieted down. Patrons were forced out earlier than usual.
By courtesy of Sayun, of course. He was too focused on his dead boss to sell any more drinks tonight.
When suddenly, a box
A box?
fell down the chimney. It belonged to a delivery girl. While everyone raced out of the tavern, she stepped in.
No. She didn't walk in. Don't rush the story. Let them know exactly how she got into the tavern.
Ugh, seriously?
It's a very important detail. We can't possibly leave it out. Besides, it might help the investigation.
I doubt that.
Go on. How did she get into the tavern?
Okay, well, she was headed to the Wishing-Get to meet with the tavern keeper, but when she reached for the doors and realized they were locked, she was taken aback. Slightly confused, since they don't usually close this early.
Through the window, she could see a handful of patrons mingling by the bar, so surely the tavern wasn't closed, right?
That's what she thought, anyway.
She would have climbed through the window.
But it was a bit too small.
So she climbed to the roof.
Shuffled to the chimney.
And shimmied her way in.
Name?
Miseria Merulius. She's a Fingal, like butter. The Fingals are what we call the mushroom folk of our world.
Yeah, but Miseria is less of a cutesy horror. She's more humanoid, and a lot prettier.
Hey, butter is beautiful.
Sure, but Miseria isn't 4 inches tall. No, she's about 5 feet and carries her fungi features really well. The glowing skin, the mushroom capped head.
Occupation?
She's a delivery girl, working for her mother's company.
Known affiliations.
The Merulius family are nobles in their hometown, actually.
Distinguishing features?
Besides her bioluminescent freckles, the 2 holstered pistols at her sides.
Miseria is stranger number 6 in this mystery.
When she slid down the chimney, the fire had cooled and the soot at the bottom awaited her with open arms. She coughed.
Everyone else coughed too.
Oh my, oh goodness. Now there are ashes everywhere.
Miseria picked herself up and wiped off the remnants of soot off her skirt.
Well then, I haven't had a thing to drink since our ship docked. May I order a cinnamon murder?
You're kidding.
There's no way that's the drink she gets.
I told you, the mushroom people love it.
Oh, does she not see the dead body?
She definitely sees the dead body.
The white-winged lizard was now covered in gray soot. He dusted himself off.
What in the... Excuse me, ma'am, but our tavern is closed.
Maeve ruffled her feathers, shaking off the dust. Butter, who was perched on her shoulder, seemed quite excited to see another Fingal.
But I thought taverns never close here in Loth. Oh well, that's alright. I'm not quite a customer here anyway.
I'm sorry, miss, but I should send you on your way. We got a lot going on here, and... Well, you say you're not a customer, but that doesn't tell me who you actually are.
Well, that's an easy fix. I'm Miseria Merulius. I was here to meet with him.
She pointed to the dead body of the tavern keeper and approached him slowly.
Though, I think I'm a little late.
You wanted to speak to my boss. Why?
I was sent from my company. Actually, my mother's company. I just run her errands. But that's besides the point. He's a customer of ours, and I'm here to deliver.
Deliver? We didn't order anything. You ordered something for the tavern? New drinks or something?
Oh, no. We don't sell alcohol. Honestly, I didn't even know he was a tavern keeper. He gave us his location to meet at, but that was before he was poisoned.
Wait, poison? How can you tell?
Well, unless he was really sick. His veins are reacting to something unwelcome in his body. I've seen the same reaction on other people before. They were also poisoned.
You keep dangerous company.
Naturally, it's part of the job.
Miseria stepped closer to the body, inviting herself into the mystery. She knelt next to it and brushed her fingertips over the tavern keeper's veins. Not in a weird way.
Yeah, no. She was definitely caressing his arm, but with the intention of identifying his symptoms. There's nothing weird going on here.
As she touched his veins, her fingertips stung. It was like the poison had seeped out of the tavern keeper's skin and was starting to burn the outside of his body.
Oh, poor guy.
There's something familiar about these streaks. The yellow skin, too. Even his eyes. There's no color in them anymore. From my experience, poisons don't typically turn someone's eyes all black. But this is different. I'm not too sure what it is, but I could find out. That is, if you let me.
Sorry, but I don't even know who you are. He never mentioned you or any deliveries. What exactly do you sell?
Miseria had this wide grin across her face. Instead of telling everyone what her mother's company sold, she pulled off the lid of the box she brought with her, the one that fell down the chimney, and in it was a fancy little business card.
It read, Corpus Dried Amarments Emporium, where we provide the best for the best.
Guns. They sold guns.
I guess there's nothing too out of place about buying guns. I mean, he works in the Undercity. I would assume everyone here carries a weapon. Miseria certainly did. Nightshade had a staff. Most of the others here are magical.
Actually, most of the people in our world are magical. The point is, buying a gun isn't the strangest thing you would see down here.
So when Sayun sees a fancy little business card and a box full of guns, Sayun is convinced.
I guess if you could help identify whatever caused my tavern keeper's death, it would help.
He did pay for our services. The least I can do is give him his money's worth, since our weapons are, well, useless to him now.
Everyone stared at each other in silence.
The longer the student thought, the more uncomfortable the silence became.
We all just saw a man die.
Thank you for the clarification. What do you propose we do?
We all just saw him die, and we are the only ones that didn't run away.
There is no law against curiosity.
But it makes us look suspicious.
Here's the thing about the Undercity. It's kind of a lawless land. There isn't much authority down here. Even if the cops showed up, they're most likely to turn a blind eye to this kind of situation.
Right, but it's not the authorities Molly is worried about.
What do you mean?
Someone clearly targeted this man and everyone fled. Everyone except for 5 strangers. You don't think that puts them in danger too? You find yourself in a mess, and you ask the wrong questions. Who's to say you won't be the next target?
Perhaps we pay a visit to this man's abode. We can inform his family.
Then we return to our own business, yes? We don't need to linger for a man we don't know.
Ella's family. I can't do that to them.
I do believe the big lizard is onto something.
Big lizard.
We have no idea what happened to this man. What are we supposed to say? Our condolences. Your husband dropped dead and we watched it happen?
No, but if what this finger says rings true, that this man was poisoned, surely they will have some understanding as to why.
It's a gamble.
There is no other play.
So we're just going to follow a man's death like what? It's a mystery of ours to solve?
He was a well-respected man. No one would ever poison him like this. He knows everyone down here, and he's like our savior in the Undercity. No one would dare kill him without reason.
Perhaps you did not know him as well as you thought you did, little one. Professor, please tell him.
Look, the least we can do is let his family know. At least then we wouldn't be suspected of his death.
It appears we have a plan. You deliver the bad news. I will do the hard work and search for what killed this man.
We can meet back here.
The 2nd of Deldorum, 1:14 a.m. Smogtown.
The name Smogtown should be enough to tell you that the air here is thick with dust and grime.
Every inch of this district is veiled by tainted light, a sickly green and a murky brown, bathing everything in a diseased glow.
It's as though the air itself is poisoned, though we assure you it's very much breathable.
Smogtown used to be an extension of the High Factory District, where larger machinery was manufactured. The pollution is what made the air so gross.
It's still a very lively part of the Undercity, though. Much like the High Factory District, there's quite a few markets and taverns down here.
The people of Loth made this place home too. The tavern keeper sure did.
Professor, please, what are we doing here? This is not what I signed up for when I agreed to meet you.
We're just going to help the little lizard out, and then we'll resume our search for the city.
Maeve isn't too happy about Smogtown. She's not used to places like this. You know, the kind of places filled with people and their questionable morals.
Smogtown has its own charm.
No, it does not.
Okay, maybe it's not a go-to vacation spot, but it's not the worst place in Loth. That would be a level or 2 below, near the slums. At least we're not going there.
Smogtown is just as eerie, though. I mean, considering how polluted these streets are, even if I don't need to, I'd still hold my breath.
Okay, I'll admit, it's impossible not to breathe in the chaos that lurked in the shadows. It burns. You could hear the howls of creatures, or maybe people?
And the bridges? They creak. There's so much rust, I'm surprised nothing has fallen apart down here.
Maybe it's magic.
Maybe it's a weird science. In any case, Maeve kept her wings tucked tight as she walked. Nightshade let Sayun perch on his staff and they marched ahead together.
I really appreciate your help, by the way. Not everyone would follow a stranger to their employer's home.
I might not have known your tavern keeper well, but I know of his reputation. What you said before, the way he saves those who live down here. I can't imagine why anyone would poison him. Perhaps he had adversaries.
Maybe. But now that he's gone, it puts a lot of people in danger.
Danger? What kind of danger?
Well, think of it this way. The tavern keeper protected us, offered us jobs, got us all out of trouble. He's partially the reason the High District is so safe. People across Loth respect him. But now that he's gone,
It will create a rift.
word has already gotten out. It's just a matter of time before people begin to fight for him or against him. There will be chaos, just like before.
You mean before he became a tavern keeper?
Something like that. Before joining us in Loth, he lived topside.
Your tavern keeper is from Lethora.
Was. He came down here almost a decade ago and started working for the Wishing Git before he owned the place. Then he gave me a job soon after. Like I said, a savior. Knowing someone wanted him dead, though, makes me nervous.
They stopped walking for a moment and glanced toward each other. It's obvious they started wondering about their own safety.
Ollie seems surprisingly calm, all things considered.
Well, Molly's been through worse. A trek through some polluted streets? Not the worst way to spend a night.
Yeah, maybe. Maeve doesn't trust her, though. She's keeping Butter close, and she's sticking with Nightshade.
Fair enough.
Excuse me, Crestling girl, what is your name?
Molly,
What brought you to the Wish and Get this evening? I've never seen you there before.
I came for a drink. What else do people go to taverns for?
Well, I'm glad you decided to pay us a visit. Though I wish the experience ended a little less daunting.
Do you not find it strange that the Crestling came to your tavern and suddenly your boss died?
What are you implying? If I killed him, why would I be following you to his house?
Perhaps you wanted something from him. After all, you are just another stranger, are you not?
We're all strangers.
You can refer to me as Professor Nightshade. This is Maeve. The mushroom on her shoulder is Butter. We are no longer strangers.
They looked to the little lizard who was still perched on Nightshade's staff.
Oh, I'm Sayun, the bartender.
The no longer strangers found themselves wandering through a series of tunnels that opened up to these houses. Not in the best condition, but well kept enough to be called home.
Alright, let's see. 203, 204, 205. Oh, here we are, number 206.
Maeve was the one who approached the door first, but before she could knock, she noticed the faintest streak of light shining from within the house. The door was slightly open.
I believe the term is ajar.
Seriously?
Ow! What? I'm just saying.
Dude, an open door means what?
Oh shit. They're not alone.
Thanks for tuning in to Cassia Letalis. Think you can solve the murder before we do? Be sure to subscribe to our official Cassia Letalis podcast to keep on listening and get notified when a new episode is released. We'll see you in Lethora.